I was infuriated when people that I knew that I was friends with were trying to tell me that Hillary Clinton was a good choice. And that's the same choice. I'm like, look, I don't know if she's murdered people, but I know that I worry that she's murdered people. That's a real, I really wonder. Like this Seth Rich shit.
I know, first of all, just leave, you don't even need to go there. You know,
there's so many other things.
This woman should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt. She wanted to distract from her email scandal. She cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent.
Hillary Clinton doesn't just walk into a roast. She walks in carrying decades of baggage, dragging a political resume so heavy it could have its own zip code. Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly don't even need to search for material. It's all stacked up like a yard sale of scandals. Awkward speeches and presidential campaigns that fell apart worse than a folding chair under a sumo wrestler. Her career is basically overtime pay for comedians, because the mistakes roast themselves.
Doesn't mean that Hillary would have been a good choice either. She was a terrible choice.
We should be, in my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave platforms on the internet immunity because they were thought to be just pass-throughs, that they shouldn't be judged for the content that is posted.
She's a corrupt politician, one of the most unlikable people that's ever run for office.
We now know that that was an overly simple view.
They were trying to get people to be supporting her just because she's a woman.
Hillary Clinton has a very weird and I think shitty marriage. I don't think she has a husband who is in love with her or faithful to her. And I think I can't really blame him because she seems to have accepted this behavior since the inception of their marriage. And so past his prologue, you're going to get what you tolerate. You know, what you permit, you promote. She spent all of her daughter's upbringing.
If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. The hook is that Hillary always aimed to be the inevitable president, the historic leader, the glass ceiling breaking icon. Instead, she became the world's longest running political punchline. Rogan and Kelly tear through her record, not with serious critique, but with sharp, sarcastic precision, reminding everyone that Hillary's reputation isn't just scratched, it's completely totaled. She's remembered less for policy and more for paranoia, less for leadership and more for the comedy of watching someone stumble over their own ambition. That's the Clinton brand: ambition without charm, strategy without wins, and spin that never sticks.
She did need to distract from that email scandal, which was around her neck like an albatross. Trust me, we were covering it every night on the Kelly File at Fox News. She had clearly violated the law with that homebrew server that had been accessed by foreign agents. She compromised national intelligence information. She did things she would never have allowed anybody at the State Department to do under her.
Rogan doesn't waste time on the obvious contradictions. Hillary somehow managed to be both a Washington insider and the ultimate revolutionary outsider, depending on which crowd she was trying to impress. Kelly jumps in, pointing out that if your brand is relatable grandmother, but every photo op looks like a hostage negotiation, maybe relatability isn't your strong suit. Every campaign stop turned into a lesson on how not to connect with voters, like she took charisma classes from a broken Roomba.
This one is wild. This is Hillary Clinton in like 2008, and Hillary Clinton saying some wild MAGA type shit.
I think we gotta have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadow. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked, they're gone. If they...
She's a Republican.
If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English.
And the emails. Oh, the emails. They weren't just a scandal. They were like forgetting to clear your browser history before lending out your laptop. Rogan riffs on the absurdity of someone with decades in politics acting surprised that people care about security. Meanwhile, Kelly points out that Clinton's defense was never really about taking responsibility. It was about showing that, technically, rules bend a little if your last name is Clinton. The scandal wasn't just about emails, it was about arrogance, so thick you could bottle it and sell it as a perfume called entitlement.
Platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X, Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control.
This is going to be our history. Women, ladies, I stand with her.
And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm.
So there's all these women that have this blind allegiance towards this career politician, completely full of shit. She's been full of shit forever.
But nothing defines Hillary quite like 2016. Rogan points out that she had every advantage: money, media, establishment backing, and a campaign team so huge it could have doubled as a small government. And yet, she still lost to Donald Trump, the man who turned every insult into a rallying cry. Kelly goes further, reminding everyone that Hillary's campaign slogan might as well have been, "It's my turn," as if the presidency were a family heirloom. Losing to Trump wasn't just a defeat, it was a humiliation so big it reshaped political history.
And Chelsea Clinton is not a nice person. And I think really is just sort of getting along based on the family name at this point. And so now she's got a daughter who I guess married a rich guy, but is struggling in her own right. Hillary's in a loveless marriage. She probably doesn't have a lot of real friends, just people who are glamours. And so she absolutely does have to write a fifth memoir and go on MSNBC and be told that she's amazing.
That election wasn't really about ideas. It was a choice between a candidate who never stopped talking and a candidate who never learned to connect. Hillary's inability to read a room became legendary. She wasn't giving speeches, she was running PowerPoint presentations for crowds who were already asleep. Rogan jokes that her rallies felt like mandatory HR meetings, while Kelly adds that if enthusiasm could be measured, Hillary's supporters would fall somewhere between apathy and a dentist appointment. Then came the endless book tours, the explanations and the interviews where she blamed everyone from misogyny to the Russians, the FBI, and even the weather for her loss. Rogan points out the irony. The one person she never blamed was herself. Kelly drives it home, saying Hillary treating accountability like kryptonite is exactly why she never clicked with voters. People can forgive mistakes. The Clinton brand has always been a strange partnership built less on love and more on political survival. Bill had his own hall of shame, and Hillary built her entire public identity around standing beside him, no matter how humiliating the scandals got.
Is that the 2011 thing where Obama allowed people to use propaganda against United States citizens?
Hillary Clinton is and has been an outstanding public servant.
What was done then under Obama, effective repeal of it, was called the Smith Modernization Act.
She was a great Secretary of State for me.
At the time, the media and media control was seen as the linchpin crux of winning the Cold War, piping in pro-U.S. media influence.
Rogan laughs at the absurdity of someone trying to be a feminist icon while defending the world's most famous philanderer. Kelly drives the point home, noting that Hillary defending Bill while preaching women's rights is the kind of hypocrisy you couldn't make up. Her speeches to Wall Street became another running joke. Nothing says champion of the people like pocketing 6 figures to tell Goldman Sachs what they already knew. Rogan jokes that if populism had a natural predator, it would be Hillary in a pantsuit, cashing checks while preaching empathy. Kelly highlights the absurdity, pointing out that every word she spoke for Wall Street was guarded like nuclear codes, as if letting one slip would prove the critics right. And, of course, it did. Rogan roasts a woman so rehearsed that even her spontaneous moments felt choreographed, while Kelly compares her to an AI chatbot stuck in beta mode, always trying to mimic connection but never quite getting it right.
You know, I was getting shot at. It's like, I can't imagine, I was just talking about lack of empathy, I can't imagine being in a situation where I'm on television and I'm saying things that are so removed from the truth.
Right.
Like, I can't wrap my head around that.
Well, Hillary did the same thing.
Well, she's a congenital liar, as she was referred to by the New York Times back in the day. But,
and rightly so, but people forget this. She did talk about a firefight that she was involved in.
I was under sniper fire, and the worst thing about that people didn't give a shit about, she said when she was in Bosnia, she was under sniper fire. It's like, wait a minute, you're throwing the Secret Service under the bus. Because what kind of Secret Service is going to let the First Lady run under sniper fire?
What makes the roast so satisfying is that Hillary still claims she was wronged by history. Rogan points out the irony. Someone with every institution behind her still saying the game is rigged. Kelly adds a sharper take. Hillary didn't lose because people hated women. She lost because people didn't like her. America has elected women as governors, to Congress, and even as vice president. But with Hillary, the excitement flatlined. The problem wasn't gender, it was Hillary herself. And the best part? She hasn't left the stage. She lingers in the political background, dropping opinions on elections, hinting at comebacks, and reminding everyone why they didn't vote for her the first time. But no roast is complete without looking at legacy. Hillary Clinton's legacy isn't about breaking barriers, it's about tripping over them. She had every shot at being history's icon, but ended up as history's cautionary tale.
How dare she? She puts out this tweet, and it's a picture of her, a much younger Hillary, and the caption on the hat reads, "But her emails." And she writes in her tweet, "Bringing this back in light of recent news. Get a limited edition But Her Emails hat and support Onward Together groups working to strengthen our democracy." The nerve of this woman to have committed federal crimes and to have gotten off because James Comey didn't have the spine to bring it. And now seeing her political opponent get a different result and trying to take some sort of "I told you, but my emails, that was never a thing" lap is galling.
Kelly drives the point home with ruthless clarity. Hillary was the politician who turned inevitability into impossibility, who mistook entitlement for destiny, and who proved that even the most powerful resume can't buy authenticity. The punchline isn't just that she lost to Trump, it's that she made it possible. For Trump, Hillary will always be the rival who handed him his crown. For Democrats, she's the candidate who snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. For comedians, by the time Rogan and Kelly are done, Hillary doesn't look like the powerful stateswoman she hoped to be remembered as. She looks like the politician who tried too hard, clung too long, and became the eternal punchline. Her story isn't one of triumph, but of irony, not of progress, but of parody. She wanted the presidency to be her legacy, but instead, her legacy is the laughter of everyone who watched her miss it.
Hillary Clinton, of course, is the original election denier. I'm sure you voted for her in 2016.
Well, she's not an election denier.
She absolutely was the OG election denier.
First of all, she came out before the sun had risen to concede the election to Trump.
And then spent the next 4 years saying he was illegitimate. He was an illegitimate president.
Okay, well, first of all, she didn't say he was an illegitimate.
Yes, she did.
You tell me exactly what she said.
She said those exact words repeatedly.
Hillary Clinton's saga ends not with applause, but with sarcasm. She wanted monuments, she got monologues. She wanted admiration, she got impersonations. She wanted power, she got a parody. Rogan and Kelly don't just roast her, they finish what history started, reducing her myth to rubble and leaving only the comedy standing. What makes the collapse so sharp is that Hillary believed her story was destined for reverent history books. Instead, her chapters are full of punchlines and ironic footnotes. Every step she took toward the White House seemed choreographed for legacy. But the legacy that stuck wasn't the one she planned. Instead of soaring speeches, Hillary became a symbol of entitlement without realizing it. Kelly points out that symbols only work if people believe in them, and by the end, the only thing Hillary symbolized was the growing gap between political elites and the people who never saw themselves in her. Her failure wasn't just personal, it became a symbol of everything voters were rejecting.
One of those things where women want a woman to be president so bad. They want one for the team so bad. And then there's so many people from the left that think she has the best chance of beating Trump or whoever is on the right, that they want her so bad. They're willing to exonerate her from so many different horrendous things. And one of the things I always point out, like, people want to talk progressive. You want to talk, being left wing, and she didn't even believe in gay marriage until 2013.
She wasn't a politician who brought people together. She was the politician who reminded everyone how tired they were of politics as usual. Kelly jokes that her campaign stops could have doubled as ambient trials, while Rogan points out that her speeches weren't inspiring, they were exhausting. The cruel twist of her career is that the more she tried to shape her destiny, the more she exposed her inability to connect. What should have been her finest hour turned into a lesson in how to alienate the very audience she needed. Her persistence after defeat added another layer of comedy to the tragedy. Most politicians fade gracefully when their time is up, but Hillary lingered like a shadow that refused to leave the stage. Every new comment or interview reminded people why she had lost. Rogan finds humor in her refusal to let go, calling her the perpetual houseguest who doesn't realize a party ended years ago. She could turn a single loss into a group project of excuses, blaming sexism, the media, opponents, and forces beyond her control. What she never did was look in the mirror.
Back to Hillary. You know, the whole, oh, she has a hat she's tweeted herself out wearing, but her emails. She's tried to turn it into this ridiculous joke, like, oh, but the moon landing, like you nutcases who are still railing about this made-up scandal, this thing that, you know, you've used to try to unfairly tar me. She did need to distract from that email scandal.
Rogan mocks her lack of introspection, reminding viewers that accountability is what makes leaders trustworthy. Kelly adds that refusing to take responsibility just made her seem more calculating, someone for whom excuses were easier than self-reflection. The comedy wasn't just in her loss, but in how she explained it, turning interviews into masterclasses in self-delusion. Her marriage was the ultimate contradiction in her public life. She positioned herself as a feminist leader while tying her identity to a man whose scandals would have ruined anyone else's career. Even her attempts at authenticity backfired into parody, with hot sauce, awkward dancing, and over-scripted banter. It all felt like someone trying to fake relatability with props instead of presence. Rogan skewers the robotic nature of her performances, comparing them to rehearsals gone wrong, while Kelly points out that sincerity can't be manufactured. Every attempt only highlighted what was missing. In the end, Hillary became less of a leader and more of a cautionary study in how not to connect with people. The final humiliation isn't that she lost, it's that she became unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. Politicians lose elections all the time. Most are remembered for what they tried to achieve, even if they failed. Her mistakes provided the script, and comedians like Rogan and Kelly just had to deliver the lines. The tragedy is hers, but the comedy belongs to everyone.